Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel for another Tackle Tuesday video. We do our weekly giveaways on here, so if you want to be entered, all you got to do is be subscribed and answer the weekly question. Today's winner for last week's video is going to be Ben Posner, not sure how to say that, but Ben, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook at Hooked on Bassin with your address and stuff, and I'll get you out a cool package. Today, we are going to be talking about the different baits that are going to be what I'm going to be throwing and what should work for you guys in the summer to fall transition. So the nighttime is going to be cooling down. The bass are going to be getting a lot more active. They're going to be chasing bait fish, shad, this year's spawns of bluegill and other sunfish, stuff like that. So I'm going to go over the handful of baits that should be working for you guys around this time. So first up is going to be, of course, just a flipping jig. This is going to basically be a year-round bait. You know, basically it's going to be imitating either a crawl or, in this case, more of a bluegill style bait. There are going to be some fish up shallow. A lot of them are going to be chasing schools right now and starting to move from out deep up to shallow. But if you find some good grass or are up a little more shallow, a flipping jig year-round is going to be a great bait. Always going to have one of those tied on. Another one we're going to have tied on, this is going to be more of a morning and evening time bait, but especially if you're out maybe off a point or on a ledge and you see schooling bass, you know, taking out shad and stuff, is going to be a walking style spook bait. You definitely, big thing with this is you got to throw this with either mono or braid. If you throw it with fluorocarbon, your line's going to sink and it's going to totally jack up the action of this bait. But this is a great bait if you see them blowing up on top water. Bomb this out there, bring it walking over top, should get blown up on that. Another couple of baits are going to be deep diving crankbaits. So of course, in whatever lake you're in, you want to know the depth, and you're going to be looking at your electronics to find out where these schools of bass are going to be or where the schools of bait fish are going to be. And that's going to help you determine exactly, you know, what depth and what baits to throw. But like I said, these bass are going to be moving from out real deep up, starting to go more shallow and chasing bait fish and shad and stuff into the creeks, up on the points and whatnot. So deep diving crankbaits this time of year can be really great. Throw these out, make sure you're getting that lip in contact with the bottom. Should get blown up on those. Another really great bait this time of year, a swim jig. I've got this white one just because I've been fishing the river a lot, and white and bright colors have been working really good for me in here. But you're gonna wanna, you could use a white to imitate shad or something chromish, but you're probably gonna wanna go with something a little more natural in the bluegill color. If you find some grass, maybe in, you know, medium depth, like 8 to 10 feet, some grass in there, throw a swim jig out, or even up a little more shallow, and just bring that through there. It's great weedless bait, so you shouldn't get hung up, but you're also going to be imitating this year's hatch of bluegill. Really great bait there. And another one, this is going to be a great bait for basically from now throughout the rest of the year, all the way through the fall, is a jerkbait or a fluke style jerkbait. Got a little deeper diver here. Again, same as with the crankbaits, you know, you're going to want to know your depth and where those fish are at, but a jerkbait is going to be a really, really good bait this time of year, imitating, you know, the darting action of some bait fish that are, you know, running from or being pursued by these largemouth, smallmouth, whatever you got in your lake. Big main component with throwing the jerkbait is I like to use a medium action rod, and a really fast gear ratio to pick up that line. But you want to make sure when you are jerking that action that you're working with, that you gotta have slack in your line. If you do it with tight line, it's just gonna basically pull it forward. You want to have a decent amount of slack, so this jerkbait is just going to be super erratic. That's the key to throwing a jerkbait, and I do plan on making a couple of videos showing you how to specifically specifically work and use these different style baits. The last one for me, I like to use this pretty much year round, but a lot of times in the fall is going to be a weightless, wacky rigged stick bait or Senko, whatever you want to call it. If you pull up to a point or a ledge or a shallow, medium to shallow flat, and just toss this out there, let it sink a little bit, jerk, 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 you know, make it a real erratic action. I have had some really good success in the fall on a weightless, wacky rigged Senko. So those are going to be my top choices for the summer to fall transition. Once we get a little more into the fall, I'm planning on making another video for more fall or late fall going into the winter specific baits. But if you guys try these out, you should have some good success. Of course, it's going to be mostly dependent on where you're at and what the fish are doing in your specific lake. So you want to definitely pay attention to the forage in your lake, if they're going off of shad, if they're going off of bluegill, crawls, whatever the main food source is, you're going to want to imitate that, of course. And then if you have the advantage of using electronics, that's going to help out just an ungodly amount to find the locations and, you know, find the depth and everything. If you're fishing from the bank, you're gonna have to just play around a little bit, like I do a lot, but throw a handful of these baits and you should be able to figure them out. So for this week's Tackle Tuesday question, if you guys want to win a little package of some sweet baits, which I'm doing every week on here, all you got to do is make sure you're subscribed and then answer the weekly question. This week's question, I am curious for you guys, with it being into the fall transition, most of the time the biggest fish of the year are caught in the springtime during the spawn, but in the fall there are a lot of gigantic fish caught. I'm gonna put a link in the description below of a video where me and my tournament partner Mike were out fishing in the fall on Brookville Lake, which is not too far from here, and he caught a massive largemouth, massive for this area at least, maybe not down south. But I'm curious for you guys in the fall, what I just want to know, like a story of some really good success, a really good fish, something you guys have had happen to you in the fall, maybe a crazy story of this, you know, getting into this fall season. So make sure you're subscribed, comment down below, tell me a cool story about some fall fishing or your biggest fish that you've gotten in the fall, and next week you might be the lucky winner. I appreciate you guys staying tuned to the channel. Stay hooked and we'll catch you next time. See ya.